a fairy tale inspired actual play D&D podcast. It follows the adventures of Princess Theia, the human sorceress, played by Lydia.r.miller.
Nature.
Delaelia, the elven ranger, played by Kelsea.
Googles it. God damn it, guys. Here we go. Cat penis.
Feliks, the gnome fighter, played by Rebecca Munoz.
If we fuck up, it's on Delaelia.
Some
No
trash.
responsibility. No.
And me, your DM, Emma Carter. Hello, hello. Happy Catterday to you. It is a lovely, gray, rainy spring day here in Kansas City, Missouri, as I edit this episode. Did you hear that? Did you hear the thunder? I know a lot of hearts might be heavy right now. There's a lot going on out there in the real world, as we all know, even outside of the pandemic. This podcast is supposed to be an escape from reality, so I'm not going to go into it here, but I just want to say, Black lives matter, and being Black in America shouldn't be a death sentence or a crime. All right. This week, we start our episode with the Spellcast discussing Childish Things, the first TTRPG campaign of a new collective Kelsea and I are a part of, Ghostlight Gamers. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at GhostlightKC for more information. If you've been wondering how you, the listener, might be able to lend your voice to the podcast, listen through our mid-break episode and I will give you a little more information on our upcoming listener cameo contest. That's right, you could become a part of the Spellbound universe. Then I actually could see you in the story.
I was outside for probably 45 minutes and have a fucking sunburn. Kelsea,
No.
Victoria. Like, it's not bad, but still, whoa.
I have been taking little increments in the sun, and I just like, it just feels good. The sunlight.
I love that Lydia has a little pink bunny like right in the upper left corner of her screen.
This is Pinky. I have had this
Aw.
bunny since I was 5.
Kelsea, that reminds me of our Threadbare campaign that we're about to start. Kelsea
Yeah,
and
I'm really
I
excited about it.
are doing it, and Rebecca's making the art for it. That's right.
I'm really
side
excited.
combo. Kelsea and Justin, and I think Andy and Ryan and I are all doing like a post-apocalyptic toy D&D campaign that we're gonna film. And we all Justin and I were both brought out our like childhood toys while we were all talking about it because we both had our childhood toys in our adult apartments too.
Which I love.
I have mine.
See, good news, bad news. I actually have my adult snuggly toy. Ryan got me a Hedwig when we first got together for our first Christmas, and she's like rode hard and put away wet at this point because she sleeps in bed with us every night. So
Yeah, I sleep with this one every night. And then that one is that. So in college, me and my crew,
Gotta have a crew.
Heidi, Elise, and Callie, we all got matching little lambs. His name is Bo. We also have him.
Yeah, I'm really excited to do like your guys' Threadbare art. Like I've already been like doing some quick sketches and everything, but I think I'm kind of, especially with the background, I really want to lean more Miyazaki with it and just
love
really
that.
bring out that environment with it too.
You're
And
speaking
so
my
I'm
love
so
language.
excited. I'm so excited to draw your guys' stuff. I still haven't gotten Justin's yet, but that's fine. He's busy. So and
I
it
don't
gives me
think
time to work
Justin's-
on your guys'. Not
Yeah,
Justin,
Andy.
Andy, thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
But you
I've
got
been talking
Ryan's.
with Justin a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Ryan Jessica Parker.
Ryan is playing a teddy bear with XOXO written on his like a little
Like a
heart that he
Valentine's Day
holds.
bear.
Oh, that's
I'm
so cute. I want to
dying.
die.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's
to draw
he was
that.
born to play this part.
I'm
This
so
is it.
happy.
Well, and that's why
Oh, I
I
can't
felt
wait to
bad,
watch it.
Rebecca, because I was like really excited about you creating this art, and then realized I was like, So you're gonna be drawing a character that has no face or hands or feet and doesn't have anything with her and no identifying marks or features. I'm sure you were like, cool.
Yeah, for a second I was like, but then I was like, wait, no, this is a challenge, Becca. This is something. This is a way to expand your creativity, and so it just means that I have to be, tell a story with the body in the background rather than with the face.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good art exercise. I'm excited for it.
Yay.
You guys are all in the forest of Maeril. Maeril? Am I saying it right? Maeril.
Yeah.
The forest of Maeril, or the Enchanted Forest, as some people will call it. It is. I didn't write this down, so I'm just gonna spit this out. It is mid-morning. You are in the forest. The forest is a little bit cooler than outside because of all the shade cast by the trees. There's a lot of moss. You see so many branches and ferns and brambles and rocks. This is wild land. This is wild land right here. Delaelia, as a ranger and native of the forest, you would know that this is no longer a matter of speed, of trying to run to catch up with this jackalware. Now it's really a matter of tracking carefully so as to not get lost or impeded by obstacles in the forest. Because now that you're in the forest, there's no, there's not like a road that you can just walk down. You're gonna have to make your way through the forest and not get into trouble. So you would know that it's less a matter of time now and more a matter of being careful and smart about how you proceed forward.
Great.
And you guys are, I think, I don't know if you've taken too much damage. I know you guys, you were hit by some little darts, but those didn't really give you any damage. Those were just trying to put you to sleep. So I think most of us are still doing okay. And I will, let's see here. Delaelia, but when we left off, you said you were going to try to track dashing. Mm-hmm. So I want to begin with letting you make a roll to see if you can track them.
Okay. So I want to start by saying that I am overjoyed to have your assistance on this journey. I know that we will find your brother, and I hope that we can also find a solution that resolves a lot of our other issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be best case scenario.
So I'm going to put my arm up and say, please, let me have a moment. And I'm going to use advantage on my survival check here to track my favorite enemy. Did I go? Not great. But 16 is my high one, which is fine.
16 is enough.
Good.
All right, Delaelia, with a 16, as you look at the ground, you see broken branches. You see some big paw prints left in softened, moistened dirt. You also see specks of blood on a couple of leaves near the paw prints. This trail that you see is leading westward through the forest.
Okay.
There is no path to follow, so you are all going to be walking through brush and bramble. If you follow this path, you have some time as you journey through the forest. Would anyone like to roleplay any conversations that you think your characters might have? You've barely had any time to speak to one another since this all started yesterday evening with the jackalware fight.
Yeah, we've only just met, really, Theia.
Yeah.
So you're free to roleplay that if you want to tell them what you find, Delaelia, and then go from there.
Okay. There's a very clear path. We should travel west and swiftly but carefully. Do the two of you feel comfortable traveling through the forest?
I mean, I guess I have to be.
Okay. Just make sure that you're keeping your eyes on the ground, and I would suggest that you walk behind the two of us.
This
So
is
that if
probably
there's something that ahead or spider webs or something, we'll get it, and we're a lot more equipped to handle that than you. So you focus on your footing, and focus on staying safe so that we can help your brother.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'd offer you a ride on Ramsey, but I don't think he'd take your weight. No offense.
It's okay.
And Felix hops onto Ramsey to ride him because Ramsey, as a goat, is better at walking on uncertain trails.
Oh, well, I hope he doesn't need to take any bathroom breaks directly in front of me.
Yeah, you might want to walk to the side. He doesn't stop.
Cool.
He doesn't stop, just like a horse. So I grew up in this forest. This is where I am from, and not only did I live here, but exploring this forest is an important part of who I am. I was trained to understand it and feel it like it's a part of my body. So we are unable to become lost except by magical means.
Great. Then I guess I'll follow you.
And we're alert to danger where I am.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Kelsey.
So, how are you holding up, Theia? You've kind of had a bit of a morning.
I mean, yeah, I'm here, and well, I guess I can't go back, so yeah, I just want to find my brother and make sure that he's okay. It's kind of freaky, the blood and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. You don't really get used to that.
have you seen a lot of blood?
Mostly my own, but yeah. You see a
Well,
bit.
you've got more experience adventuring than I do.
Wow, I never thought that day would come. Okay.
You are a true adventurer, Master Feliks.
Thank you guys so much for helping. I don't know what I would have done if it was just me. I don't know how I would have gotten out of the castle.
Honestly, what is going on with your father and your uncle and the magic? And just a quick run, so you have magic, but we're pretending you don't? What's going on?
Well, I don't know. I don't really know. People always just kind of said I was cursed. Things tend to happen around me. I mean, I guess I have magic, but I'm not supposed to. Like, it's a really bad thing. I don't really know what happened to my mom, but my dad says it has something to do with magic, and so it's like a really big bad. You're not supposed to use it, you know? And I didn't mean to. Well, okay, the last time I did it, but up until then, I did not mean to use any magic. It just, I don't know, when I would get scared, sometimes I might accidentally turn somebody into, you know, a frog or a goat temporarily.
Well, the most dangerous thing is a person who can't control their magic. I do not mean to insult your father, but keeping you a stranger to something that is that powerful inside of you has put you in a lot of danger.
Well, he's pretty stubborn, so... But hey, I mean, I might never see him again. So there's that.
Well, I mean, you don't know that for sure. I mean, you know, maybe once we find your brother, you know, he can explain everything to your dad and, you know, everything will be right as rain again.
Or is your brother the same way? Is he going to...
I don't know.
If we get there and we use magic to get him away from these creatures, is he going to hold that against you?
I don't know. He said some pretty mean stuff to me before he left. But he's always stuck up for me.
It seems like he wasn't in his right mind. Did he seem different to you?
He did. Honestly, I'm a little concerned about that. I've never seen him act that way before. He's usually pretty easygoing and, I mean, charming, dashing. It's literally his name.
Oh, that's not a nickname? Good goddess. That's his actual name?
That's his name.
Oh. And so Delaelia makes, like, obviously not the sign of the cross, but the elven version of that, like, Poor kid.
Damn humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just want to find him and make sure he's safe, and then I guess I'll figure out what I'm doing after that. Hey, maybe I could live in the forest with the sprites. Or something. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, right?
I think
Yeah.
that you will find a place. That's not what I'm afraid of.
What are you afraid of?
The journey it might take for all of us to get there.
Oh.
But we can get through it. Just remember to be honest with yourself, and when you feel something, investigate it. Don't try to hide it, and don't try to push it down. That will only make it worse for you and potentially everyone else.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, if you ever need to talk to someone, I mean, I don't want to speak for Delaelia, but we're here. We've only known each other a couple of days, but I'd like to say we're friends, and friends help each other. So let's go find your brother.
Thanks, guys. Nobody's ever been this nice to me before.
Yeah, well, your city, no offense, princess, they seem a little closed off. Communication does not seem to be key there.
Not great.
Yeah.
You might have had a lot of odds working against you at that place. Honestly, you might be good to be rid of the thing. And I don't want to be insensitive, but wash your hands of it, walk away. This is your opportunity to do that. Though, of course, we do want to help them if possible.
Do we have to help all of them? Like, Drusilla? Do we have to help her?
Who's Drusilla?
Oh, she's just, the bully in the castle. It's fine. She's just, perfect and proper and always makes fun of me. And, yeah, she's the worst, basically.
Yeah, but she doesn't have magic, so you've got a big leg up on her.
See, that she doesn't see it that way. It's fine. So, hey, that's it on the bright side. I guess I don't have to deal with that anymore.
You don't. And something that I have found in my years, unfortunately, sometimes people are hateful to you because they hate themselves, and it's the only way they know how to feel to others.
Wow, that's deep.
She also might just be awful. I don't know. It could go either way.
It's funny, I never pictured a princess being the one being bullied before. That's
Yeah, well,
That's-
most
that's
princesses don't
interesting.
turn people into frogs when they get scared. So.
That is fair, princess.
As you are walking, you can keep talking, but I'm saying as you're making your way through the growth, you come to a big log that you have to kind of climb over. Everyone make a dexterity check.
Okay.
Okay, since I'm on Ramsey, that means I get an advantage in dexterity.
Awesome.
16 for me. Felix is a 22.
And I'm a 4, because of course.
And Theia bites it.
Hey, let's be fair. She hasn't been out in the woods before.
Let's just call a spade a spade. She's a klutz. Thea's a klutz.
So describe for me, Delaelia, you're first, and then Rebecca as Felix, and the Theia. So describe for me, each of you, how you get over this giant mossy log. Delaelia?
So Delaelia, and she's not stupid or silly when she does this, but she does, when people are wandering through the woods in movies and stuff, they do hand motions over there, so she's doing tactical movements, and she shows that there is a log ahead, and then she shows how she does it so that you guys know how to find the footholds or whatever. And she also warns you both not to make contact with underneath of the log.
Awesome. Felix?
Felix, on Ramsey's back, they kind of take a little short loop around to get a little running space, and then they just charge forward, and Ramsey just takes the leap, and he doesn't quite clear the log, but because of his hooves, because I'm imagining it's a pretty tall log, he manages to hit his hooves against it and push them up a little higher, and so it's not entirely graceful because it's a goat with a person on its back, but they manage to clear the log.
Beautiful. Theia?
Well, I'm gonna take a running start and try and leap over the log, but I'm not gonna make it, and so I'm gonna get stuck in a straddle position over this log. My feet cannot touch the ground because it is a tall log, and I'm gonna wiggle and try and step forward, but my foot is gonna get caught, the back foot, and I will make it to the ground, but it's a face plant.
Oh, are you okay?
Yep. Fine, used to it. It's fine. I'll be fine. I'm gonna pull myself up and dust the leaves off of me.
I want to look at her and see if she's really okay.
Hey, any fall you can get up from, Theia.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
So Theia, your brother is older than you?
Yeah, he's 2 years older.
And
he acts like he's like 6 years older, but
he is a good fighter, or he is not?
I mean, people say he is. I guess I've never really seen him fight anything for real. I mean, we've had tournaments, and he was pretty good in those. But then again, you know, nobody really wants to be the person to beat the prince, you know?
Does he have a lover?
Oh, God, I don't think so. Like, I mean, no, I don't know. I don't really want to know.
He must be incredibly lonely.
I mean, I guess I've never really thought about it. He's very popular. I mean, if he wanted Drusilla and whatever the other girl, what's the other girl's name? I've forgotten it. Millicent. Ah, great. Just as dreadful as I thought it would be. Yeah, if he wanted a girlfriend, I mean, Drusilla and Millicent follow him around like a couple of lost puppies, so...
Yeah, but we've established that they're both loathsome. So, is he betrothed to someone? Because he will inherit your kingdom, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't... I haven't heard of anybody yet. I mean, I guess that princess, the redheaded princess that's all perfect and proper or whatever, is probably... If my dad was going to marry me off to her brother, then maybe she's getting married off to Dashing? I don't know. They don't really tell me things around here.
Can I do a history check? Oh, it's not good. Can I do a history check on, like, if I know anything about how, like, royal human marriages work or anything like that?
Yeah.
Well, my 2 says I probably don't.
Would you like me to do a history check so that I can tell you?
Yeah, Kelsea, Delaelia is not familiar with the mating habits of humans, but she would know how it's done with her people. How is it done with her people?
In my people, it is just like she believes. It's like it should be. Like you marry to make personal alliances and grow your family. But people aren't monogamous necessarily, like sexually, because it doesn't make sense when you live for 650 years to like tie yourself to one person in that way. But it's not like an orgy fest all the time either. They're just like doing what you want, and then you create a life and a livelihood at someone's side if you want to. But it's not like women can have power and men can have power and anyone can have power. So it's not.
Does she tell all of that to Princess Theia?
Yeah. She tells Princess Theia about that.
Wait, do you get to pick who you marry?
Yes, and if you marry as well.
That's amazing.
I probably won't.
I mean, I probably wouldn't if I had a choice. Well, I guess I don't have to now. Hey,
that's true.
That's exciting.
You're a strong and powerful woman, and you can do whatever you want.
Oh, God, no one's ever described me like that. Thanks.
Well, welcome to the new Theia. This is Forest Theia.
Forest Theia.
Maeril gives you that power.
By the power of Maeril.
Well, hey, it does kind of rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you keep walking, climbing your way through the forest, and now you find yourself. The ground is starting to turn a little bit more rocky. There's there you can see Delaelia, since you're up in the lead. You see that there's a little some water, like some words. There's like a creek with some slippery, mossy rocks. And as you make me another survival or tracking check, just to see if you can still if you're still got a good handle on if you're heading, you're heading in the right direction. You're heading west.
15.
Yes. So you see these mossy, kind of wet, rocky, this creek, and you do see that some of the stones seem to have claw marks on them, maybe perhaps the jackalware was clawing its way through this area. So you're still on the right track.
Okay.
But it is a little bit slippery. So can everyone make another dexterity saving throw for me?
Oh, saving throw? Yeah.
Just a dexterity check.
I did. It's not pretty.
It's better than it was. You're getting better.
Hooray! She's learning the terrain.
Yeah.
I got a 6.
12.
I have a 23.
All right, so just like before, we'll go Delaelia, Feliks, and then Theia. Describe how you make your way through.
So, Delaelia stays crouched a little bit as she goes across so that she has a lower center of gravity, and quickly, like with strong thighs, like great thighs, tweet. So quickly crouches and goes from rock to rock and does a little test on each one first to make sure that it's not going to move, but gets across perfectly.
So Feliks, since he's on Ramsey's back, Feliks and Ramsey are able to jump rock to rock, but since Ramsey is loaded down with Felix's supplies and Feliks, it's a little more slow going, and Feliks kind of has to coax him a little bit once they get like in the middle to keep going. Come on, keep going. So.
And Theia?
Oh god. How steep is this rocky terrain? Because I don't want to get hurt.
So it's a creek, so it's not, it's less of a.
Is it wet?
It's wet. It's not high water or anything. It's mostly like the trickle. Like you've just found like the very edge of what probably is leading into more of a body of water. So it's a lot of wet stones and like maybe like an inch of water. So very, very shallow, but wet.
Okay.
Slippery.
Well, I'm gonna climb down those rocks and like try and do what I saw Delaelia do and test each one and make sure that it's good. And then I start to get a little bit confident, and then Theia's gonna take a step on what she thinks is a sure rock, but it's probably covered in moss, and so she slips and falls on her butt in the creek and then crawls out. It's fine.
I like that your clothes are probably like destroyed at this point. Like
fair.
Feliks is gonna take off his cape and hand it to Theia to kind of dry off, and
Thanks.
he's like,
Sorry.
"You're doing great."
Thanks. I'm sorry. I'm probably just slowing you guys down.
No.
I'll try and be better at stuff.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? This is your first day out in the forest, and so,
yeah,
you
you
know.
have to learn somewhere.
Honestly, it's
Flipping
my
on it.
first day out anywhere, come to think of it.
Well, in that
So you're
case,
doing real
you're
good.
doing better than you should be. Yeah, really great.
Thanks.
It'll get easier.
Room for progress.
Yeah. Failure is just a time-released success.
Yeah, let's keep moving.
So we keep going.
And you keep going. As you move deeper into the forest, the creek starts to widen, and you can tell that you're moving closer to a body of water. The water starts to get a little bit higher. You don't have to necessarily walk through the creek where you're going. If you want to kind of climb out and walk alongside it, you could do that instead. There are roots, tree roots, lining this creek. as well as some larger rocks if you want to try to use those to climb out and maybe travel alongside the creek instead of inside it. Would anybody like to do that, or would you like to just keep heading straight?
I'm gonna follow Delaelia.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of the creek, and I'm going to offer a hand to help the other two up as well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, Feliks is gonna get up on the rocks too. Like, it's big bodies of water. That's not his favorite thing.
Okay, so make one final dexterity check for me, or strength if you think it's more pulling, like pulling yourself up out.
Yeah, and I'm going to,
Or athletics, like athletics or dexterity, I would say.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm helping Theia up, so.
Yeah.
So she gets advantage.
I get advantage.
You know what? I think I'm gonna do a strength check just because it's Ramsey doing all the work. I'm gonna put that at. Should I put that at a disadvantage because he's carrying stuff to get out of the water?
Yeah, let's do that. That'll make it more
Okay.
interesting.
I'm just trying to make it fair. I've been cheating. I'm on a goat for the past 5 rolls, so.
Oh no!
Oh no!
What did we roll, ladies?
Okay. Yeah, so Theia got a 10, which is
Okay.
great. Rebecca got a 3, but it was a crit, so a 1, and I got a 4.
All
Oh,
right.
I'm doing better than you guys for once.
So
You got it.
Oh wait, does that mean it's my fault?
No!
well.
Well.
What do
I
you
guess.
think? What do you think happens? I'm going to start with you, Delaelia, since we've started. I kind of am imagining maybe you are helping Theia up first, like you're giving her a boost in your in how you're helping her, so that she actually climbs up ahead of you. Do you want to? What do you think happens?
Yeah, I'll have her go up first, and I'll be pushing her, and I sort of get under her butt, and I'm trying to be respectful because I know that that's her thing, like she's a princess or whatever, and am distracted, so I just bite it in the creek. I just fall, full body drench.
Oh my god, are you okay?
I'm fine.
And Feliks, how Feliks rolled a nat 1? So
He did.
what is the spectacular fail that happens for Feliks and Ramsey?
Well, they tried to jump up on a rock, but the rocks are really wet and slippery and a little moss covered. So Ramsey didn't quite get a grip on the rock when he was up there, and they just ended up tumbling goat ass over gnome and just kind of landed back in the water with a splash. And I think Ramsey's probably landed on top of Feliks for a hot second.
Aww.
So he's a little winded and completely drenched now. He and the goat are drenched now, I guess.
I try to help them both up.
That was embarrassing.
I did also Google a picture of goat feet just because I didn't know what they looked like. They're so cute.
I know, right?
They're cloven.
They're cloven.
Like I said, princess, any failure is just humiliating. Okay.
Do you want your cake back?
He's just wrenching his hat. No, you keep that. I don't think there's any helping this.
And I'm gonna say, just because I don't want to make you roll again, I'm gonna say you guys are able to get up the side now that you've had your failure. You're wiser for it now, and you're able to safely climb up to join Princess Theia to walk alongside the creek, and you keep walking. Delaelia, you can sense that you can sense rushing water up ahead. Make me this is kind of separate. Make me a perception check.
Okay. 15.
Cool. So Delaelia, now that you're up on the creek, you're once again trying to find your trail. Just make sure that you're still seeing the same signs. As you are looking at the ground, you notice humanoid footprints that are walking up alongside the creek. It's not necessarily like a trail that's walking the same direction you are, but you notice just some humanoid footprints, kind of a muddle of humanoid footprints up there. And then they seem to be going off in a different direction, but you still notice that there are the telltale signs of the prince and the jackal ware going forward, because you see you see like broken branches, you see paw prints in the mud, you see little specks of blood. So that is what you see.
Can I discern if the humanoid footprints are like one humanoid, or does it seem like a bunch?
It seems like one humanoid.
Do I recognize any signs of it at all? Should I investigate it?
Yeah, you can investigate it.
Oh, my investigation's shite. What the hell? Okay. Cool. That's fine. 14.
It seems like whoever's wearing these boots, these seem like pretty heavy-duty boots. You could assume that these aren't the kind of boots that necessarily the prince would be wearing. He probably would have been wearing something a bit finer. But these seem like really heavy-duty work boots.
Cool. Can I tell if they're like a man?
They're definitely larger, not like a monster larger, but just like an adult male.
Okay. Wide enough to be a man foot.
Yeah,
okay.
wide enough to be a man foot.
That's the tracking term. Food. So I'm gonna relay to them that I notice another being out here. I do the same like hand signals thing and like point to the floor and like but when I notice that they don't really understand what I'm pointing at, I say there's been another man here in this area.
Dashing?
Should we investigate? No, like a manly one.
Like, okay,
It might be nice to have someone who could help if we needed.
Yeah,
if they
he might have seen. He might have seen them going this way. Maybe he can tell us a little bit more.
He also could potentially be really bad. So those are, there's an up and a down to that one. So, but I'm confident that if he's not a jackalware, I can handle him.
Okay, well, I mean, as long as you think it'll be okay. I feel bad because there's not a whole lot that I can do to help.
Should we not tell people that you're the princess?
Maybe not. Probably not.
Let's just say that you are a girl.
Okay.
That's good.
An excellent plan.
I am
A+.
really good with like cover stories. Yes.
This is so good.
Killing it. Okay.
Okay.
So we go after this dude. Does he seem to be human?
I mean, the footprints seem to be about human size.
And they're not like elven boots?
I don't know. They don't look like elven boots, as you would know. The specific shape and imprint usually left with an elven boot. I would say probably elven boots are so well made that they don't tend to leave like big old indentations in the forest floor. They're kind of built for people who move about the woods and don't want to necessarily disturb it and leave tracks. So they definitely don't seem like elven
This guy's probably awful. It's unusual for there to be a person out here, right? Like,
Yeah.
clearly with the sprite saying what they said.
That sprite did say that there were bad people in the forest taking animals. Which, if he is a bad person and he's hurting the forest, maybe we should help.
Like, yes.
Absolutely right.
And we should definitely be aware that we want to have the upper hand in this situation, if possible. So maybe try to be stealthy while we track him.
Oh, sure. I'm just not great at the whole sneaking thing or really anything that involves, grace.
But we can at least try.
I'll try. I'll do my best.
Yeah. All we can do is try.
Yep.
So you guys are gonna follow. Are you following the tracks? The man boot tracks.
Man boot tracks.
Man boot tricks.
Could that be a sponsor?
Man boot tricks.
Yeah.
Hello. I'd like to take a moment to thank you, the listener, for pressing play. And an extra big thank you to those who've shared the podcast or left us reviews. I should have mentioned last episode, but Commander Krista of the Sprite Brigade is named after Krista Pojman, our friend and composer. Krista has written multiple songs for the podcast, including Princess Theia's memory song in episode 1. Also, characters Erickson and Augsher, who you are about to meet, are named after my aunt, Heather Erickson, and our friend, Ben Augsher, who helped us with our original podcast artwork. Thank you all for sharing the podcast. Remember, if you share the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and tag us, I'll put your name on my NPC naming list, and you could become part of the Spellbound universe. Speaking of becoming part of the Spellbound universe, as I mentioned in the intro, we are going to be running a listener cameo contest in June. Now, sometimes I reach out to actors I've worked with in the past to have them do special voiceovers for the podcast when I come across a role that I think they'd just be perfect for. Shout out to Mike Ott and Jordan Fox. That is something I will continue to do. However, we will also be running a listener cameo contest for an NPC in an upcoming episode. If you're an actor, whether professionally or for the love of it, or you're just a person who thinks it would be really fun to hear your voice on a podcast, this is for you. I'll provide a segment of dialogue from an NPC you've yet to meet and make that available to all who are interested. It is then up to you to record that segment of the dialogue and email it to thespellpod@gmail.com. You don't need to have a professional microphone or setup to submit yourself. We're all using a variety of microphones. I use my Apple earbud microphone when we play, and we're currently recording the episodes via Zoom, so just do the best you can with what you have and record in a quiet space. I'll listen to all of your submissions, and I will pick one to be featured in that episode. I'll post more information about that on our social media pages, so stay tuned. All right, I've talked enough. Let's get back to the story.
Well,
She'll just be
Felix
the
did
first
not
one.
do well.
Mm-mm. Are you yodeling while you're
Oh my
walking around in the
God.
forest?
Apparently. Okay, to be fair, there is nothing about Felix that's subtle. So, his stealth probably isn't great in a forest because he's wearing like bright yellows and blues and reds.
True.
So, blending in is not exactly going to be his forte right now.
He's feeling himself and he's just like singing loudly, like Curly from Oklahoma.
I mean, he's
Maybe it's
he's thinking that-
Ramsey.
yeah, Ramsey. Ramsey
Maybe
just gives
Ramsey's
off a real
hungry.
big, loud bleat that just echoes.
And Delaelia is just like, what, why?
He's just like covering Ramsey's mouth, like, I'm so sorry.
So you guys are following these footprints. So you've taken instead of going westward now, you're moving a little bit more northern, following these footprints northern bound. You're going north. And you, so yeah, Delaelia is moving as stealthily as possible. Princess Theia is pretty stealthy. She's doing a pretty good job. She only trips over a couple of roots, but she catches herself. And then, as you guys said, Felix is just he's not being stealthy at all.
Is Ramsey like eating plants or something? Is he just hungry and like snapping twigs left and right?
Yeah, they're probably just moving very loud. And oh, I just remembered, Ramsey has a collar on that has a bell.
Oh God.
Well, that
there's
explains
just
it.
this clunking going on, and he's bleeding, and Felix is trying to talk to Ramsey, being like, shh, okay, boy, we gotta be quiet. You should be quiet now. And he's just talking the whole time, and he's trying to get the collar off, and so there's just like this sound going off while he's just trying to get it unstuck because it's been on for a while. So like there's some rain rust going on there. So there's just a lot of racket going on in the back.
Beautiful.
He's trying.
Like in taking the bell off, you're making more noise.
Yes.
And so you guys are
taught me.
You guys are doing that. And up ahead, Delaelia, you sense some movement up ahead, and you think you can hear some some voices, some faint voices.
So I motion to the others to stop and be quiet.
And make a perception check for me.
Great.
You can all make a perception check for me.
Oh, all right.
9. My bad.
I got a 13.
Cool. So a 9, a 13, and a 15. Delaelia, you still hear some voices. They sound a little bit muffled. I think Feliks and Theia, after she has you freeze and be quiet, because she turned to you to kind of like motion to be quiet, you can see over her shoulder, both of you, you also see some movement up ahead and what looks like maybe some people walking through the forest up ahead.
Do they look nice?
You can't really tell anything about them because the forest is pretty thick. The trees, the plants, everything's pretty thick, but you see one Feliks, probably just the vantage point that you're at. You're just at this right vantage point on Ramsey where you see one figure looks taller and the other figure looks about more medium sized.
Okay. Do I know if it's common for people to be anti-elf?
I don't think it's, well, in the forest, no. Like in the forest,
this is my house.
Yeah, this is your house.
Okay.
And even really, I don't know if Delaelia would know because I don't think Delalia's been that many other places. I think Highguard is really Delalia's like only experience with humans so far. Mm-hmm. Feliks may have traveled in other places since he's been traveling a little bit more where it was more common for him to see elves and half-elves and orcs and dwarves and humans all hanging out in taverns together. So I think Feliks would be the one person in your crew who's a little more familiar with everyone, with race not really being an issue. So I don't think Delaelia would have any like intrinsic fear right now, like her being an elf would matter to strangers in the forest. I think it's more so about people who live in the forest and people who don't live in the forest, and it's a thing anytime people who don't live in the forest are in the forest. That's something that can raise suspicion.
And humans don't live in the forest, correct?
Yes, humans don't live in the forest.
Okay, so this is my shit. I'm gonna confidently walk up to them.
I'm gonna pull some names from my NPC naming list. Hey! You walk forward confidently, Delaelia, and you step right into what looks like a campsite. There is a campfire. There is what looks like a couple tents. There's a big old wagon with a big tarp over it. And you walk forward confidently and you find yourself face to face with a human who is dressed in leather armor. He has brown hair with a beard. He's wearing some work boots. He has
some Timberlands.
Mm-hmm. He has the thing you'll notice first, I'm describing what he looks like. You find yourself face to face with a human who is pointing an arrow at you. Or rather, they were pointing an arrow and you walked right into them. Cool. And you make eye contact with him, and he has gray eyes and brown hair, and he looks to be about middle-aged, like maybe for a human in his 40s. And he doesn't look aggressive necessarily. It just looks like he was prepared for whatever was coming out of the forest towards him. Cool. And behind him, you will all see behind him, there is another figure. This is something that, Theia, you probably never met an orc before, Theia. But there is an orc behind him, also clad in leather armor.
Oh.
His orc companion is taller. He is also wearing some work boots. He has, what does he have? He has.
Are orcs generally bad in this universe?
Good question. No. So in D&D, it's a little different than Lord of the Rings. No, short answer, no. Specific
people aren't inherently bad usually.
Yeah. Race doesn't. Sorry, you go ahead, Rebecca.
Oh, with orcs, it's no, they're not inherently good or bad. Orcs can come across as more crass and a little more barbaric, but they're not inherently evil. It really depends on their life and their choices, which is in 5e a big thing is that I've noticed too in a lot of podcasts is that there's a lot more range in their morality lining. So he could be anything. Cool. Theia doesn't know that, but
And the orc isn't holding a weapon, but he has a sword, and he's standing by the fire. It looks like he's roasting some game that he's caught over the fire, and the one who is holding the arrow is looking directly at you, Delaelia, and he says, "Good morning to you. What's your name?"
Greetings, friend. And I, chest to arrow, just take the bow and push it off to the side so it's not pointing fatally at me. What brings you to my land?
And he lowers the arrow a little bit, and he looks you up and down to Layla, and he says, "Your land? Well," and then he shrugs like, "I guess you're right there, love." And he doesn't lower it all the way, but he looks to Feliks, and he looks to Theia, and he smiles a bit and quirks his eyebrow, and he says, "What kind of party is this?" My Cockney's really bad. Let me get into it. What kind of party? What kind of party is this?
Well,
just a bunch of friends out for an enjoyable stroll in the forest.
A diverse one, yes. What brings you all here?
Cockney, we're just out in the forest too, aren't we? Oksha?
Good day, Oksha.
And the orc looks over and he goes, he just looks at you guys and goes, He doesn't even say anything. He just grunts, but he's looking at you as he's roasting he's roasting some kind of wild boar over the fire.
Yum. And what is your name, sir?
And he lowers his arrow and he sticks out a hand to shake your hand, and he says, Erickson.
Erickson.
And what's your name, love?
My name, sir, is Delaelia. And we were actually wondering if you had seen there's a creature that we are tracking. It appears to be a mutated jackal.
Yeah, and it's got a human with it.
A human
blonde
man.
hair. Yeah, blonde
Probably
hair.
in
Probably
its
himself.
mouth.
Yeah.
And Erickson looks at you, and his eyebrows raise up, and then he just bursts out laughing. He's just laughing, and he says, "The three of you are tracking a jackal-ware. Have you seen a jackal-ware this morning, Oksha?" And Oksha says, "Nope." And Erickson
Have you seen them at all previously? This is something you're aware of?
And Erickson turns back to you and he says, "I'm sorry, love. We have not seen any jackal-wares with humans in the mouths this morning. Like I said, we're just taking a stroll through the forest, little camping trip, little hunting camping trip. But if I see one, I'll be sure to let you know." And he just kind of laughs at you guys again.
Great. All right. Thank you. And I'm gonna just go back to our trail.
Okay. So you guys just turn around and leave?
It's just the two of them, right? And there's 2 tents?
Yeah, there's 2 tents, the fire with the roasting animal, and then
A wagon?
a wagon with a tarp over it.
A wagon? Wait, I want to know
What
what's
if
in that wagon.
Yeah, why do you have a
Yeah.
wagon in the forest? What do you got in your wagon, sir?
Pardon me?
Are you
In your wagon.
rather extensive camping trip to have a full wagon with you?
What are you? What are you, the constable of the forest?
Well, I mean, she does live here, so yeah, I guess.
And he kind of puts his bow back. He's not intimidated by you. And he says, "Look, my friend and I are out here. We're hunting for game, finding, herbs and stuff to take back to take back to town and sell to people. An honest living. Is there a crime for hunting deer?
Well, actually, I think there is. Someone is stealing something from this forest, and it's starting to cause an issue.
Can we do a like a wisdom check or something to see if
he's lying?
Being honest?
Make insight checks for me.
Okay.
Insight. There's the word. Nope. Felix is just like, all right. I rolled a 4.
Sounds good. And I got an 18.
Oh, I'm gonna step forward, and I'm gonna look at Delaelia, and I'm gonna say, I know we said I shouldn't tell people who I am, but I think I might be able to make them show us what's in the cart if I tell them who I am.
If you'd like to.
Be careful.
Secrets don't make friends, love. Would you care to share with the class?
Please
Yes,
stop
actually,
referring
my
to
name
us
is
as
not.
love.
Yeah, my name is not Love. My name is Princess Theia Penrose of Highguard, and I would like to see what is in your cart.
And at that, he his expression changes, and his kind of more smug smile falls, and he looks you up and down again, Theia, and I think he's kind of, even though your dress is pretty muddied and dirty at this point, he's taking in that you are dressed in rather fine clothing, and he says, "A princess, eh?"
Yes, I've been sent forth by my king to investigate stuff in the forest. And this looks suspicious, and I would like, you say that you are innocent, and I would like to just take a look in your cart. If there's nothing to worry about, then there's nothing to worry about, but really, what do you have to lose?
And he looks at you, Theia, and he puts up his hands and he says, "Begging me pardon, princess. I didn't know we were in the presence of royalty." And he looks over at his companion and the orc. He doesn't do anything. He's still just watching you guys. And Erickson says, "Look, friends, I think we've got off on the wrong foot. How's about you come join us for some breakfast? You sure look like you could use a good warming up by the fire." I think I'm just gonna stop doing this accent, guys. I'm having a really hard time with it.
It's fine.
All right,
Fine.
so Erickson, I was only pretending to have Cockney accent. Now I can be my true self. He grabs the Cockney accent and he says, "Okay. Hey, I think we got off on the wrong foot. Why don't you come warm up at the fire? Your clothes are soaked. Here, come have some breakfast with us, Ogshire." And the orc looks over at him and he says, "Get these three some of that pig. Come on." And he gestures for you to sit down by the fire, and he smiles.
That's very kind. I would still like to see what is in that cart, and then we can talk about warming up by the fire.
Well, listen. Why don't you eat some food, and I'll show you what's in the cart.
Why are you so hesitant?
Can we see what's in the cart first?
Well, to be fair, how would you feel if 3 strangers walked up to you in a forest and demanded to see what was in your cart?
I wouldn't have anything to hide, and so I wouldn't care. Also, I'm a princess, so people don't really get to bully me. Well, I mean, they do, but they shouldn't.
And his smile at you tightens a little bit, Princess Theia, and he says, "All right, you want to see what's in the cart? I will show you what is in the cart. Ogshire." And
Is it sex stuff? That's the only explanation.
And Erickson looks at you, Delaelia, like, Would you like to take a peek, love?
Sure.
And so Erickson, he gestures to the cart, and his orc companion, Ogshire, he lifts up the tarp. Do you guys step closer?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think I might motion for the others to stay back.
Oh, okay.
I don't have to, but I'm gonna go look in there just in
Yeah,
case it's dangerous.
Felix is just gonna just get a little closer to Theia just in case something's off.
And Aksher pulls up a corner of the tarp, and Delaelia, you see some deer, dead. You see some rabbits. You see mostly deer and rabbits on this corner of the tarp. And Erickson says, see, just like I told you, we're hunting game and we're going to go sell it for profit back in town. Because I don't know if you knew this, not a lot of people outside this forest like to come in and hunt here. It's pretty scary, wouldn't you say, Aksher? And the orc nods his head in agreement. So
Yeah,
that's why friendly people like me and my pal here come and do the hunting for them.
I'm going to look in a little bit closer. I know that he just lifted that one side, so I just want to like look in. And I have obviously dark vision, so.
Okay. Make a perception check for me or an investigation check.
9.
Oh.
Okay.
I was frowning because my perception is +5 and my investigation is -1.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
Okay.
you look closer, Delaelia, but from what he has revealed, you don't see anything else. And as you kind of look in closer, the Aksher puts the tarp back down and he meets your gaze. And he's tall. He's probably like 7 feet. No, maybe more like 6'5". So he's a bit taller than you and pretty muscular, big orc man. So he just kind of like gives you a look. And then Erickson says, like I said, nothing to see here, just 2 friendly gentlemen having breakfast.
I have a
Why
question.
don't you have a seat?
I have a question out of character for a second.
Mhm.
So, you know that thing that I can do where I make like a light wind happen?
Yeah.
Would that be strong enough to get rid of a tarp?
So I don't think it would be strong enough to get rid of a tarp because it's a light wind. Let me say this, Theia. I feel like it wouldn't like remove the tarp, but it might be able to lift up a corner of the tarp momentarily.
Okay, then I'm gonna use. Is that prestidigitation?
I believe so. Okay. It says you create an instantaneous, harmless sensory effect, such as a shower of sparks, like you used back at the palace, a puff of wind, faint musical notes, or an odd odor. And there's some more stuff as well. You can instantaneously light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. So in this case, you're using a puff of wind. And Theia, you cast prestidigitation. Are you trying to do it sneakily, or are you just openly like?
I'm gonna try and be sneaky about it.
Okay. So
I don't know how sneaky I am, having not ever practiced anything ever.
do you do anything physically, or do you just try to do it with your brain, or?
I'm just gonna.
And as you like cough, just one little corner of the opposite end of the tarp flips up for a moment, and you just catch the glimpse of a metal cage, a small metal cage, and then it floats back down. And
What was that?
I'm gonna say that the Aksher didn't notice that because he's making eye contact with Delaelia, but Erickson did notice that just little puff of wind. And he narrows his eyes a little bit and he says, like I was saying, time for breakfast. Anyone? Breakfast? Would you, unless you would like to keep going on your journey, you did say you were chasing a jackal were that had kidnapped a human? I mean, that sounds scary. You should probably go take care of that.
Was Lydia the only one, Theia the only one who saw the cage?
I'm going to say probably since she was the only one who would have known to look. Well, no, that's not fair. Make a perception check for me, because I just said that one of my NPCs saw it.
Jesus.
19.
So yeah, you saw it too, Feliks. Delaelia, you're locked in eyes with the orc, so you didn't notice that, but Feliks saw it too.
You saw that, right, Feliks?
Yeah, does hunting usually need a big metal cage in a wagon?
Well, of course. Where else are we supposed to keep the animals that we catch?
The live game? You're keeping
Dead,
live
I
game?
would think.
Some people pay good money for live game. Right?
Well, then do you mind showing us what you have? Perhaps we would buy something off of you.
That's a good idea.
Oh, and what are you looking for? Something specific? And he actually does seem interested. He says, how much are you How much are you? What price range are we thinking here? What? Give me a ballpark.
Do I need to remind you that I am royalty? I don't have a ballpark. Give me the best that you've got.
Okay. And Erickson looks over to Aksher and he nods his head. And Aksher doesn't move at first. He looks back at you, Delaelia, and then he looks at you, Theia and Feliks. And then he goes over and he lifts up the corner of the tarp. And actually he takes it's a big enough cage that he can lift it like from a little ring on the top. So he picks up this cage, probably about the size of a bird cage. And inside of it, the three of you see what looks like a tiny red dragon. It is about the size of a cat, with little. It has 4 legs, and then it has 2 wings on its back, and it has a tail with a little spike at the end. He shows you and he says, "Voila."
It's what is it? Do I know what it is?
Roll a nature check. Everyone can roll a nature check if they want to. I'm gonna say because Sophia got a 17, Feliks got a 19, and Delaelia got an 11. So I'm gonna say, Delaelia, this is a creature that you have never seen in this forest before. Princess Theia and Feliks, you've heard of things called either fairy dragons or pseudo dragons, which are tinier dragons. You've never obviously seen one in real life, but they're basically miniature dragons, and this would be them at full size. They stay about the size of a cat. So you think this might be a fairy dragon or a pseudo dragon?
So this is clearly what Commander Krista was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that in character?
No, I'm saying it out loud.
And Erickson says, "This is a genuine pseudo-dragon, courtesy of yours truly. Fancy yourself a fancy pet, princess?" And the dragon inside, it's kind of like looking around like it's kind of like maybe like it's kind of curled up and it's clawing at the cage, and it does not look happy.
Can I see that a little closer? Can I hold the cage?
Payment first, princess. Payment first. This little guy will earn us a pretty penny. So
Well, you wouldn't expect me to buy something without having a chance to inspect it, would you?
I think you can see it pretty well from here, and he moves it a little bit closer, but he doesn't let go of the cage. And Aksher kind of steps up behind him, so they're both asserting themselves. But he does hold it a little bit closer.
I'm gonna just look at Delaelia like, what do we do?
All right, gentlemen. It will not be permissible for you to capture fey creatures in the fey forest and take them out to sell them. Please release this creature and any other ones you have in your wagon.
I'm sorry. Are you a princess? I didn't think that you were a princess. I was talking to the princess.
What she says has equal weight with what I say. Do as she says, or the king will know.
The king, and then he steps back a little bit and he hands the pseudo dragon back to Aksher, and Aksher puts the pseudo dragon back into the cart and puts the tarp over it again. And Erickson says, "The king has no jurisdiction here, princess. So unless you're interested in purchasing, I would suggest that you and your little friends scurry along your way to find your jackalware before it eats whoever this person is that you apparently seem to be looking for."
All right, so I'm going to draw my short sword and say, release the pseudo dragon.
Hang on. Okay. And Feliks kind of steps in a little bit. And he's like, before we all get a little too riled up here, I feel like we haven't asked the main question, which is of the nice, gentlemanly proprietors. How much are you wanting for this dragon?
And Erickson looks down at you, Feliks, and he nods his head to you, and he says, 800 gold.
Well, Well, unfortunately, my purse is just a little smaller than that. Tell you what, though, I can give you, at this moment, 20 gold, and you'll have the reputation of a princess who will be going back to her kingdom very soon and telling everyone about the wonderful people who provided her with this magical little dragon. And who knows, it might become a trend in her town. Can I roll charisma?
Yes. I want you to roll like persuasion or deception.
Okay. Let me do. Where's deception? I'm gonna do persuasion.
Oh.
Did I roll it? Oh.
You did.
What'd you
Well,
roll?
he tried. Felix rolled a 7.
So Felix, Erickson puts his hands on his hips and he looks down at you and he's nodding. And then he's laughing at you. Oh, nice try, my friend.
Can't blame me for trying.
Yeah. We'll be keeping the dragon, princess, unless you want to take us back to your kingdom and give us the money right now. That wouldn't be a problem for you, right, princess? What is a princess doing in the woods anyway with a dress like that? Do you need us to escort you back to your kingdom, princess? Are you in distress? Have these vagrants kidnapped you?
Delaelia, can we kick their asses?
Uh-oh. Will our heroes save the pseudo-dragon? Or will their act of heroism put them and Dashing in even greater danger? Find out next time on Spellbound. Songs in this episode include Suonator de Liuto by Kevin MacLeod of incomptech.filmmusic.io and Dragon and Toast, also by Kevin MacLeod. Fantasy Ambiance by Alexander Nakarada of Serpent Sound Studios. All sound effects from zapsplat.com.
The tigers are real
Agreed.
victims.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Fuck people.
No.